almost one step before your new life. So I'm really happy for you. So, and what we are going to do today? Today we're going to make a recap of the course. It kind of will be a kind like a preparation for your future interviews, light one. We will talk a little bit again about software development life cycle, so to make sure there is no gap in your knowledge. And of course, you will be able to ask me any other questions related interviews, preparations, questions like job search and everything else you want, and I will be happy to help you. So let's start it. So first so first part in a class, we will talk about day in QA. And then, of course, homework and question and answer. So why you have to know about one day in QA, like the life of QA engineer? Because sometimes as a part of the interviewer, hiring manager usually, or someone else from the team will ask you a question. So tell me about your day, usual day. So you have to be able to clearly answer this question. So for sure, believe me, I know what I'm talking about. Your each and every day will be totally different. Of course, it depends on the stage of the software development lifecycle. So that's why it's not different, because stages are different during the development process, the same as your work days and responsibilities as well. So yeah, and you will be learning each and every day. Of course, once you will start, everything will be new for you. You will have to adjust yourself to the process in the companies, to the technique, to the workday, and so on. Like I would say, that's first week will be like everything like will drop on your head. You will have to learn thousands of new things for you. But believe me, after 1 month, maybe even after 2 weeks, depends on your personality, how you can handle the pressure, you will feel everything is fine. Like believe me, it will gone eventually. So yeah, it not will be like be so hard for you like more than months, believe me. So first, how we start in day in a work day, like how's the usual day starts. So I will tell you about myself, about my experience. So, and then you will see how you can reply for the future questions. So first, what I'm doing first when I'm starting my workday, of course, I'm checking my Slack messages. Before actual pandemic, I was doing the same during my commute to the city, or if I'm working from home, like in the morning. Um, During the pandemic, and I think it's bad habit already from my side. Since I have a Slack on my phone, I'm checking Slack messages a lot, more than I want. Like before my work day starts, which is 10 a.m., but I'm always like already like up and working like at 9 and after 6, of course. So I don't think if it's a really good idea. I cannot do different way because I have a lot of responsibilities. But yeah, I'm checking Slack messages like almost, I wouldn't say it's 24/7, but a lot, like more than 10 hours per day. So yeah, I hope you want to like do this way, never ever. Then of course, reading emails. That's first thing I have to do in the morning, and I will explain you why. Usually, if you will be invited to any meeting, invitation will come through your email. And you will have to accept this invitation, and then you will be participating in a meeting. In some companies, when like invitation came and you will accept, it's also automatically, if it's integrated with a Slack, for example, it will automatically reply and invite you through the Slack as well. So you will not forget that you have a meeting. So yeah, guys, and pay attention to the meeting. Sometimes it's really important. Sometimes just you and manager like one-on-one meeting. So don't be late. Always check your calendar. So if you see there is no like actual notification, I don't know, set up alarm or something else, but don't be late. So especially when you just start. So please remember this one. This is really important. And then is usually time for the stand-up. What can I tell you about the stand-ups? Again, before pandemic, when everyone in the office, that's usually in the morning. But when I'm asking my student, okay, guys, tell me when is your stand up? And the most, I would say, like often answer is like 9 a.m., 9:30. And it's like, it's really fun to me. So guys, not really 9:30, not really 9. Usually it's somewhere around 11, and I will explain you why. So yeah, currently, if when we're working from home, we can do it like anytime, obviously. So 10 or 10:30, but before, that was a commute scene. Everyone's supposed to be at least in the office at that moment, and sometimes when it's like traffic, and especially when you're working in a city somewhere and you're living somewhere in a suburb, so it's hard to sometimes to commute on time. So that's why everyone is aware. So that's why usually stand up it's around 11 a.m. So, and yeah, right now that's the same probably time, around 11, but not 8 a.m. In some company there is an exclusion, because if you're working with offshore teams, in different countries, for example, yes, in this case, you have to adjust the time for the early hours, or opposite for the late hours, so to be able to communicate with the people from other countries. So that's why, the reason I was telling you the story. So there is no actual answer. I mean, there is no right and there is no wrong answer. Whenever it's comfortable for your team. So that's your stand-up time. So because sometimes students really scared about this question. If I will say it's 11 and they will not hire me because I said 11 instead of 10, I said, no, that's nobody cares. So that's about only actual your team schedule. So don't be scared if you will say 11 or 8, up to you guys. So, and that's how the morning starts. The good thing in QA, I would say, compared to other professions, so there is no phone calls. I'm not using phone at all. Nobody is calling me by phone, and I never had my actual desk phone before pandemic as well, because everyone is using Slack, Zoom, on so you don't have to really pay attention to the calls. Only if that's emergency during the night times they will call me, but no, not like really. So yeah, no phone calls. Okay, and right now, let's guys check how the actual 2 weeks typical sprint looks like from the QA perspective. So what you guys going to do during the sprint? And yeah, that's kind of a reminder of software development life cycle for you guys. So first day of the iteration, what we are going to do this day. So let's go back to the Jira, and I will give you a quick reminder. So that's your project, that's your Jira, and this part, that's the calls backlog. So backlog, I would say if it's, we will use a simple language, that's just a storage. Storage for everything we created, user stories, requirement, and bug reports. So that's the storage, so that's the backlog. And when you sprint starts, so before to click this, there is a start sprint button. If sprint is not like it's not started yet. Product manager, project manager, or scrum master, so person who is responsible for sprint creating, picket stories from the product backlog, so from here, and adding stories to here, to the sprint. So all stories to the to-do column or open column, for example, say coming from here, from the backlog, so everything in the backlog. So guys, are you clear on this part? Or it was a gap in your knowledge? I just want to make sure you know where is the stories coming from. Okay, perfect. So yeah, stories coming from the backlog. Perfect. Yeah, so you know this part. So you will know, because sometimes students ask me, where is the stories? Where is everything? Like, where is all information in the backlog? So your bug reports. Sometimes you might see in the backlog stories, requirements, and your bug reports, and they already like 2 years old. Yeah, so yeah, don't be surprised when you will see your old issue. Sometimes because it's not a high priority and we have something like really super important right now, so we will leave everything behind. So yeah, don't be surprised. And then, no, you don't have to check a backlog. That's actually not your part of work at all. So you just want to know where is everything. So if it's not in your sprint, where is it? Everything in a backlog. So in a sprint, so we doing what? So what we add into the sprint? Only highest priority stories and highest priorities issues, which we are going to work and fix during the sprint. So you guys supposed to remember that each sprint in each company is different. It might be 1 week, 2 week, 3 weeks, or 1 month. And depends on how long is your sprint, how many people in your team. So that's how many stories we will be able to add to the sprint and work it, because it's not like a rubber band. We cannot just resize it the way we want. So that's why it's a really important process to do not add anything more than we can do. So just to avoid overwhelm ourselves. And then product owner will try to define acceptance criteria for each story if it's not done yet. Sometimes there is just a user story, but then we will need more specific acceptance criteria. So product owner can go to the stories one by one and add acceptance criteria for each story. Also, these periods of time when we fill in this column with a status to do or open, everyone is able to ask high-level questions, not low-level questions. So about the acceptance criteria, is it covered for each part of the story? So, and that's kind of question. So, and then we can move to the second part of the planning session, which is what from QA perspective. We can, or we should, or if we will need it, we can create a testing task for each stories and make our own estimation. So for example, like define high-level test cases, or if we work in an automation team, we can create a task for each story, create automation tests, yeah, or perform manual exploratory testing. Or create test cases or generate test data or prepare a test environment. So this part, we not only create and test cases, we can also work with the requirements, we can ask questions. So that's the first part. So yeah, we're not only testing, we're also working with the test documentation, and we are creating test documentation as well, because that's really important part to do. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. And we will talk about day 2. On the second day or third day, we can actually still continue the conversation with the product about acceptance criteria, and I will explain you why. So you guys working with user stories and requirements. You guys creating these cases, and upon you doing this, you can see, for example, it won't work this way, or like when you test in this way, it's still like not really expected results. So from the testing perspective, from the user perspective, you can raise your voice as a QA to say, so for example, we have to rewrite it or do it like different ways. So make sure customer will be satisfied with the quality of our product. And also, you know, sometimes guys, if you're not clear with the test, with the user story, with the requirements, you have definitely ask a product owner what we should expect from each feature, how it should work, how it should behave. So because it's really important, don't be shy to ask questions. It's pretty normal. Sometimes, and I show you these stories during our class about the user stories, it's just one sentence. So, and you cannot guessing, you have to know for sure. So you're not playing the detective role. You have to know for sure what is the actual expected result. So that's absolutely fine. If you will comment in a story, like you will add a comment, product, please add more clear acceptance criteria. So don't be shy. That's absolutely normal. They might skip the story. They forgot to add acceptance criteria because we all people making mistakes. We doing a lot of work, so that's absolutely fine. So if someone forget to add something, that's why you can always ask. So don't be shy again. And yeah, so we keep going with the test cases. So sometimes, guys, I can tell you there will be no test case work, for example. And can you tell me actually when we will not be working during the sprint on the test cases? That's the logic question. It exists sometimes, this opportunity that you don't have to write test cases at all. Come on, guys, you're supposed to know this answer. When there is nothing new to develop. For example, there is a sprint which is called bug fixes. So means we're not going to develop anything new. There is no new stories. We just made the decision to focus on bug fixes. So because we have, for example, 100 issues with like between high and medium priority, and we have to spend the sprint only to working on the bug fixes. In this case, you don't have to write a test cases. First, you have it already, and then we will focus on the fixes and retesting and bug verification. So that's the case when you don't have to create test cases. So it's easy, guys. Yeah, I'm sure you knew the answer. You're just trying to answer. Don't be. So a lot of questions just absolutely was a simple answer. Just absolutely. Yeah. Don't be like, I know what is your problem. I had the same problem. So I always start thinking from, some like technical, really serious perspective. And I'm keep forgetting that answer is usually so close. It's somewhere on the top and it's usually pretty simple. So, and I always know that I knew it. So, and yeah, so you know everything. So just don't be shy. Okay. So yeah, we keep going with the test cases. We working on the conversation with the product. We're asking questions. So couple first it's most working with the test documentation and user stories and requirements from our side. Then let's go back to Jira. Yes, guys, we will have to jump a little bit between Jira's and presentation. So day 4 and day 5, we can start spending maybe on some functional testing and exploratory testing. Why? Because coding of the first story may be completed at this point, so we can start testing first. So how we supposed to know that we have stories to test? It will be in a column for QA or test queue or in testing. Depends how the company will create a title for this column. So from this, sometimes the stage will look like this: open, in development, then in QA, or to do, in progress, in QA, or QA, just QA. So the actual column name, it's not really super important, just it's supposed to be something for QA. In some companies, if you will be only one QA, you might get these tickets assigned directly to yourself because you only one QA. But usually there will be a filter in Jira with your, like, for example, QA, and you will go to this filter. You're not even supposed to really go here to the board, how I'm checking my tasks. So I'm not going to the board. I'm not interested in what is in development on somewhere, only if I will have to check the overall health project. So all my filters, excuse me, something wrong with my mouse. So all my filters are here. in this part. So I will create some filters. I will pin it to this my first page. And so there will be filter, like for example, for QA. And I will go and I will see the actual number of the tickets we have. I will go to this filter and I will pick the ticket I want to test and I will test. So sometimes I'm not even really usually go to this board to double check something. Yeah, because it's not really needed. So yeah, sometimes that's the actual case. So yeah, but when you have to start testing, when you have tickets in QA for test, so you will go, you will take the ticket, you have to assign it to yourself because that's the only way, one way, sorry guys, how the people will know that you're working on this ticket. So you cannot start working on something and not assign to yourself because someone else might steal it from you, like and sometimes it's happened, it will happen at some point with you, because for example you just take it and it's a person who just came to the filter, didn't update, didn't refresh the page, and he might take the same ticket from you because it's not visible yet that it's already taken by you. So yeah, don't be don't be afraid that that's not you doing something wrong or other person doing something wrong. It's just a Jira problem. So don't be surprised. We just like laughing about this situation. Like, okay, hi guys, again, someone stole my ticket. Yeah, but you can see in the Jira who did it. So and everything like comments, assigning story, you can see it in the Jira history. That's why, guys, it's sometimes if it's like, some specific question really important, uh, sometimes it's even like light conflict situation, I would say. So my personal preference, and that I learned from my brilliant manager, everything supposed to be in a Jira. All communication you're supposed to perform using the comment field in Jira. Like ask your questions. So like, for example, developer didn't add test environment, or you have to ask some question from developer, you need some answer. So sometimes you might ask in a Slack, but people say different, different personalities, your question might be lost, or someone will ask you why you didn't ask this question in Jira. So yeah, that's my advice to you guys. If you have question to any person, to the product, to the project manager, to the developer, to other tester, even sometimes use comment, like maybe that's not your teammate, maybe that's testers from different team or from the offshore team. That's why we have comment field in Jira. Always ask. So it will document. It's impossible to delete your comment, like in Slack sometimes. In a paid version of Slack, it's actually also impossible. If you send a message or someone is replied, so it's impossible to delete. So from the security perspective, that's good. So, but again, and remember this, my recommendation. So always comments, always in Jira. Always have a proof that you test something and you found an issue. Like when you see it, sometimes might save your back or different piece of your body. So yeah, always have a proof that you tested something. So yeah, sometimes the company is different, people are different. So always it's better to be safe than sorry. Again, that's all everything what I'm telling you I learned from my management, because that's kind of advice is really good. Okay, so what kind of testing types we usually using to start our testing? So you guys supposed to remember, so that's usually a heavy pass test. We never actually supposed to start our test cases from negative tests. And tell me why we have to start from the heavy pass tests. That's interview question. Why you will start from the heavy pass tests? Tell me. I said negative test. Happy pass, that's positive. Interesting. Okay. So we need to know the basic functionality of the application works to make sure all functions are working, not just to make sure all functions are working, to make sure they all working as expected in and how it's written in a requirement. So it's working how it's supposed to work. Not sometimes it's just working, but it works against requirements. We're supposed to make sure it's working how it's written in requirements. And only after we can really harass the application to use our negative tests. So that's how it's worked. Okay, so then we can move to the day 6 and 7. So it's already more close to our, I would say, prime time. So what we're doing 6 and 7 day of our sprint. So most stories already coded. So what does it mean? Our filter is full of the tickets, user stories, test and tasks, bug reports for the fixes to retest everything else. So we are really hardly working these days, like middle of the sprint, or when it's already even closer to the end of the sprint. For us, it's a hard time. So we have a lot of work to do. So we performing functional tests, integration tests. So we have to make sure that new user stories that developers actually implemented, they integrated smoothly to our application, and they friends with existing function of the application, and we have no major problems. So that's the part. And this task we do in, I would say, day or two, depends on how many stories we have in a queue, how many people we have in a team. So it's always, it depends on the process, depends on the people, and so on. So again, there is no actual answer how many days you are going to perform functional testing during the sprint. I don't know. First, I never count it. Second, it depends on how many tasks I have. Yeah, guys, and there is really, at least for me, confusion questions from some hiring managers, like how many test cases you can create per day, or how many bug reports you can create per day, or how many stores you can test per day. So for me, it's super confused question. So first, I never count. Second, each and every story is different. Like we learned, guys, with you. Some stories are super small, really clear, and we can just like do simple copy paste. So we can create 20 test cases like 20. Some stories are really difficult. They huge one. We have to read it carefully, make sure we understand everything is correctly. Like maybe we will have to follow up with product people, so, and it might take longer. So each and every day is different in my QA life. So, and I'm not actually counting how many test cases I can create per day. So answer will be between 20 and 50 maybe, if it's, they really need to know how much, how many. So yeah, but it's actually this type of questions, they drives me nuts, because I don't know why people asking, because I don't care about the quantity. I would say I care about the quality of my work, about my test cases. They supposed to be nice and clear. Same with the bug reports. It's supposed to be clear. It's supposed to be a bug. It's not supposed to be a duplicate. So it takes some time sometimes, but I'm not sitting with like, timer and I'm counting how actually it took me to do. Also about the time and what you're supposed to remember. In some companies, guys, you will have timesheets. Don't be scared. That's normal. That's not about the people wanna like see how many hours you spent on something. That's for overall company's processes. So, and usually you will have a project, and under this project, you will supposed to note how many hours you spent on working on this project, like creating task cases, testing actual project, maybe participated in the hiring process, participated in the planning. That's normal. So, of course, no one is expecting from you that you know actual time until minutes and seconds. So if it's like 3 hours and 40 minutes, you don't have to say 3 hours and 40 minutes. You can just say 4 hours or 3 hours. So nobody actually counting. In some companies, they doing this automatically. Once you turn on your laptop, and if they have a software which is counting working hours of your laptop. It will also be recorded automatically. That's in some, I would say, finance companies, they might do this one. In startups, media, it's maybe, I would say that it's a little bit lighter situation. So you will have to handle your timesheets by yourself. And at the end of the month or at the end of the week, your manager will approve your hours. So that's how it's going. So don't be surprised. That's normal process. If you're not aware, it exists almost in each and every company. So that's normal. That's not because you're doing something wrong and they want to watch you. That's for everyone. So because some students, after they got the job offers, and then they asking me, Marina, why is they asking me to record my hours? I said, that's because that's fine. That's normal process. Okay, so, and then we almost close to the end of their cycle. That's actual day 8 and 9. Again, let's go back for Jira for a second. So how we know we are close to the end? So after we tested each and every user story, after we revise the fix of the bug report, what's happened with the ticket status. So once story tested and you verified functionality as working as designed, you have to change the status of your ticket. So, and future status will be like, for example, to be deployed or ready for deployment, or I don't know, sometimes it will be done. It's not actually done, but done means from development perspective. Again, depends on how they want to name this column. So second column after QA is ready for deployment or to be deployed. What does it mean? Tester validated or new functionality implementation or bug fix in QA environment or in staging environment or whatever environment you're using for the testing, and moving it to the next step. And one we have in this column to be deployed almost everything. That means that the time for the code freeze and we can start run our regression testing. So guys, do you know what does it mean, code freeze? No more development on feature. No more development at all in our branch. So no more changes into our branch where the features all implemented. Maybe not branch, maybe environment. So we test in an environment, in our QA environment. During the development process, developers, for example, implementing the features, one feature implemented on their local branches, they will merge it to our main, for example, where all testing happens. Or when bug is fixed, developer implemented the fix and again merged the fix to our environment, and then we will refine. When is in our almost time to do the final build, or maybe at the stage of the final build when the environment is close to to be ideal, everything is fixed, features are implemented, there are supposed to be no new code changes into that environment. So that's only one way how we can start regression testing. And I will explain why. Can you imagine you started your regression testing and you run like around 40%. And one brilliant developer made the decision, so, okay, I will add some small, almost invisible change to the testing environments. I'm sure it won't affect environment, application code. It's just small fix of something not related to functionality. So you guys can keep going and testing. But for example, from the development perspective, it's not a big change. But when this small change is coming to your big environment, it could be a huge problem. and you guys, for example, already tested this part, and after developer implemented something, and issue, for example, might happen on the part you already tested, and you guys keep going, and you don't know that you already have a big problem there. And when this everything will be pushed to the production, issue will be in the production, and who will be responsible? QA, because how they create a regression, they pass this test case, and in production it's failed. So that's why when we run in test cases regression, it's supposed to be only code freeze stage, no more new code changes into our test environment. So developers, they can work locally on their machines to work on new features on their developers work or something else, but there is no supposed to be no changes to our environment. So we can run our regression testing to make sure our application is nice and perfect from the start to the beginning. So, and again, so we can start from the end-to-end testing, end-to-end testing and regression testing. The main goal, it's not only to make sure everything is working. We have to also make sure that the new functionality increases the value of our software, and it's ready for delivery, ready to be present for the customer, not to make sure everything is working and not broken. So code freeze is dev say no for regression? No, it's not dev say no for regression. I would say that's just a stage of software development life cycle when everything is done. Devs, they're not actually doing sign off for regression. We just have to make sure they coded everything, we tested, and everything seems to be working. So that's our more on our side, when to start regression. So when we see we tested all bug fixes, when we see that we tested all stories, so and all development it's done, so then we can start regression, and then that's the part when they do a code freeze. How we will see that code is frozen? There is nothing visible, of course, but that's communication between project manager, QA, and development teams that developers just will be alerted. Okay, guys, QA is starting regression tomorrow. No more changes into that particular branch or environment or whatever, guys, how you going to test your application. But there is nothing visible, of course. They will just avoid doing any new code merges to your application, and that's a testing application. So that's how you will know. Okay, so, and that's a lot of fun, also hard work for the testers to do regression testing, guys, but you already know it. So yeah, and tickets, from the tickets perspective, everything is ready to be deployment column. Okay, and last day of the sprint, then day 10. So when we are ready for release. So what we are going to do in this day, of course, that's the demo meeting for the product owner, if applicable and required in your company. Not in each and every company they doing demos. Sometimes there is just demo like a couple times per different software development life cycle when it's huge feature is implemented. If it's like regular bug fixes or something like small new implementation, there is no demo. Product owner, he can or they can actually go into the environment and see how the features looks like. They can perform user acceptance testing, for example. So again, depends how your company would like to handle this situation. But if it's like real agile before release, we have to do demo. So who is doing demo? Usually that's the project manager who is going to the testing environment and demo the feature to like whole company. It's not only developers, QAs, that's also business analysts, product people, marketing. So everything who is interested in this feature. So we demo the feature, and product owner, usually that's the people from the product department, they providing their acceptance on the feature. So sometimes before the demo, you will have to generate some test data for a project manager. For example, test accounts, help with environment setup. So yeah, QA is also participating in a demo preparation from the generate and test data perspective. So don't be surprised if someone will ask you with a setting up environment for demo. That's normal. And then once we get all approvals, we can proceed also with a general decision of go or no go on release. Remember how we're doing this one. QA is supposed to provide a release sign off based on their testing. Developers supposed to provide their sign off based on development, and product as well. So that's the three major team in the company who is providing release sign off. Once a release sign off is provided, we can proceed with the release. So usually people trying to do this Tuesday or Wednesday. Why I'm telling you actual days, because sometimes interviewer might ask you, what is your release day in a week? So usually that's Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know why, but everyone hates Monday, and everyone is trying to avoid huge releases on Monday. So yeah, so usually Tuesday, Wednesday, never Friday. And I will explain you why. Sometimes after release, we can actually find out there is an issue in the production. And sometimes it become visible not always immediately during the release validation. Sometimes it's take hours or even days. And can you imagine, we pushed release to the production on Friday, and we were able to complete only half of validation. And then during the weekend, something is happening, like something really bad with your application because of the release, and validation wasn't completed, and you didn't catch that we have problems in the production. So what's going to happen? Everyone will be alerted, and you guys will start work during the weekend. So everyone is trying to avoid the situation. So usually Friday, that's absolutely no date for releases, unless it's something super important and there is no option to postpone it or reschedule it. So Friday is absolutely no. But yeah, so that's why it's usually Tuesday or Wednesday. That's the best days to do release, because Monday sometime we need an extra preparation day for the release. And if we will do push to production, we will do on Tuesday or Wednesday. We have a lot of time to validate everything in to do normal post-production release verification. So we will have a lot of day to do this. So yeah, assuming the day 10 is second week, it looks like Tuesday, Wednesday is the sprint of third week. Kind of, yes. So again, guys, my ideal sprint is a 2.5 week from my personal QA and development perspective. That's 2.5 or 1 week is better. But if we're doing 1 week releases, there is no regression testing, no full regression testing. That's the only, or end to end at the end of the sprint, or partial regression. So, but there is absolutely no for full regression. So yeah, again, so your this presentation, it's kind of close to ideal agile development. But remember, guys, there is nothing ideal in this world, and especially in IT, in development. So you just have to remember, so you will have to adjust yourself, your knowledge, how the company wants. So how they do in their way of development, because each and every company free to do what they want and how it's comfortable for the company. So yeah. And that's why I'm always flexible in this type of interview question. If your way of a sprint, way of product development was different than we're doing right now, that's fine. We will just explain how we're doing here, and you will do this way. So for me, it's not a big deal if you before you done something different. So for me, it's just fine. Nothing crazy with this. So yeah, and then release validation, and all happy, and we can go and die around the corner. So yeah, but yeah, guys, that's the joke. Yeah, we have no option to die. We have to go and work because a new sprint is started. So you will have to wait with your dying until then your vacation, I would say. Okay, so yeah, this one, slide 11, is really, yeah, is really important. No, sorry, slide 10. Yeah, life cycle of iteration testing may vary in each project. So again, duration of the task is not a fixed prescription for sure. So, and if your interviewer will be really surprised with your answer, so that's something wrong with your interviewer. So in this case, you're supposed to say, yes, our company is doing different way, but absolutely flexible to adjust my knowledge to your company, and that's it. So that's how you're supposed to answer if someone will be a little bit surprised with your way of how you guys work it in your previous company. What you also supposed to remember as a part of the interview preparation. Sometimes there is a question, okay, guys, can you please tell me what your key QA task done onto daily basis? So what you have to include in your answer. So you working with the requirements, you working with the task documentation, of course, and that's the crucial and important that you will have to keep touch base with developers and product because they are your best friend from your QA career perspective. Developer will always help you with some technical stuff, how to test something, yeah, how to find out, for example, something in a code, how to work with some API commands. So I'm always asking developers, always, if I have a trouble with my automation test, I'm also going and ask to do, for the help from developers. That's fine, and they actually always absolutely happy to help because one of directors of the development in my company, he said to me, work with a QA, and QA work is so important from my perspective because you guys making us human developers look so good. It means so when our application is works perfectly, what does it mean? It was developed the amazing way. So when you catching something and we are able to fix it before it will go live, it make us really looks good. So that's why they always happy to help, and they always on your side. Believe me. So developers, they're critical. So same with the product. To make sure QA team understands correctly how it's supposed to work, product will spend as many time with you as you want to make sure you really understanding the product or feature. So yeah, so that's why communication is number one. Yeah, then you will work with the test documentation, like test cases part. You will run test cases, of course, manual, automation, or both, like I'm doing. I'm doing both, and manual and automation, because for the new feature implementation, for example, it's really easy to do the first round of the manual test, and then when it's developed and it will go live in this way, we can automate it. And for the old features, we can run automated test. And for the new, we can do it manually. So again, that's how your company wanna handle the testing way. Of course, you guys will discover and report bugs. So that's I would say that's the most important fun part of the testing. And you will do retest always, each and every day. You will be doing retesting something, or user story which you send back because it wasn't fully implemented, or bug report which you found and developer fix it and you're going to retest it again. So multiple tasks. So, but it's not limited. Of course, you can also do what? Train junior team members, create presentations, work it with a Confluence to make sure project information about your project is up to date. I don't know, helping non-technical people in your company to work with environments, to understand the features. So I don't know, I'm doing so many tasks, QA related and non-really QA related. So yeah, don't be surprised, you're going to do the same ways. And what is next? And that's the really important part. So what makes a good QA engineer? Uh, of course, you're supposed to be a technical person. Who is a technical person? Who know how to write technical details based on the requirements. You know how to work with the different testing tools. You know how to learn. You know how to Google. You know where to look for the information if you don't know it for now. So yeah, technical part is really important. But I would say communication, that's the large part of QA job. So, and I provided to you already like thousand of examples why it's so super important, especially when all organizations right now are trying to work in agile. So, um, yeah, always remember, you're going to speak with the tech people and non-tech people. So you have to be able to do it good the both ways. So everyone will be really clear, both sides. So tech people and non-tech as well. So also you're supposed to always be a good team player, team member. So you have to support your teammates. You have to support your manager. It might sound surprising to you, but manager, that's actually really important person in the team. And this person is also doing a lot of administrative work. So sometimes you will have to be a backup for your manager to also provide all information about your environment, testing ways, and something else to your manager. So don't be surprised when your manager will ask you, can you please train me on this project, or how guys we're going to set up this environment? Because unfortunately manager, that's the poor person who's supposed to participate in 50 meetings per day, approving your timesheets, creating reports about each and every person on the team. Yeah. I don't know, everything like report to upper management. So manage the overall teamwork. So a lot of work to do. And sometimes it's not really QA related. Yeah, it's just managing. So again, so that's why communication is really, really important to each and every QA person. So don't forget about this one. So yeah, and that's, I would say, pretty much that's it from my side, what I was going to tell you today. So homework. Okay, guys. So as a part of your homework, you remember from your previous classes that you have to have a story. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about your projects. Tell me about your responsibilities on the project. You have to have a story as well. Prepare your day of QA the same way how I explained it to you today. So you have to at least closely remember so your day-to-day responsibilities, what you're doing in the beginning of the iteration, what you're doing in the middle, what you're doing at the end. So you have to have an answers like really clear about your day-by-day tasks, process, and so on, because sometimes there is a really important question during the interview. So it will give an understanding to your future hiring manager what kind of knowledge you have. So that's why that's your last homework here from myself. And of course, guys, you have to finish everything. What you have to make sure you will get your certificate. So the same day you will finish all your lessons and homeworks, you will be able to print your certificate at the end of LMS. And that's pretty much that's it for me. So we can move to your favorite part, question and answers. with the same sprint days, different, a lot of depending on the stage of the product development. Of course, everything depends on the stage of product development. And I hope person who will be interviewing you will remember about this one, because again, sometimes I'm getting such a like confusing feedback from my students. They say, I don't understand why this person asked me such a dumb questions, because it's like really confusing. Sometimes it looks like sometimes hiring manager are not aware of how the software development lifecycle looks like. Do we need to submit our homework anyway? No, you don't have to. It's just for yourself. You have to submit it for yourself somewhere in your Google documentation, or where you're making your preparation notes for your future interview. So no, don't have to submit. Just make sure you complete all lessons, homeworks, and at the end you will see the certificate. We will get today's recording too. Of course, that's the normal class. You will see it in LMS. You have an LMS today's lesson. So of course, everything will be. You see, it's YouTube translation. So yeah, not translation. Sorry. And yeah, so yeah. You will be able to go to this link and see the recording as well. How long you will have access to LMS? At least year or even more. So yeah, you don't have to worry. We're not really cutting your access. Can you put in hotfix? Example of the hotfix, you mean like issue and hotfix? It could be any issue. Like again, with payments, it happens a lot. Sometimes there is an issue on Visa side or MasterCard or on a PayPal side. So in this case, like for example, we implemented API from Visa or from MasterCard or from the PayPal into our application. They made the change on their side. They never let us know that they did it. And our customers, when they make a purchase, they're not able to do the purchase. It's failing. So we have to immediately investigate it and apply the fix. So that will be a hot fix. Jira access will be there as well. You didn't see no, I don't see no lesson element. It stopped with 5621. Ask, you sure? Let's check it. 1 second. No, it should be. I mean, you still will have this recording. 1 second. Let me check what I see in LMS. You might type your questions if you want right now, guys, while I'm checking. I just want to make sure there is a lesson for you guys, so I will be absolutely calm about this one. 1 second. Okay, so there is a section in LMS which is called actually like today's class course recap, and it will be available to you. So no worries, it's there. There is a session, actual this recording and poll after the class, so you will be able to provide the feedback about the class. So yeah, and then once all this tasks done, you will see the certificate. So, and you officially advanced QA person. Can you please explain how does the QA set the environment and in case ask it to do it in demo meetings? The same way how you will do in your machine. Actually, it might be your machine. So, or you, if it's not your machine, you will have to go to, uh, you will have to take a machine. They will give it to you, and will just set in like, oh, for example, if it's a web application, you will have to open the URL with your testing environment. Yeah, log it in, or set the cookie, or like enter the password, depends how the access is handled into your application. Maybe set up some headers if it's gated access. So prepare test data accounts. That's pretty much that's it. Just me. You just will have to make a basic setup how you're doing on your machine, just on different machine which they're going to use to do demo. That's it. Nothing super hard. Yeah, guys, honestly, like really, really honestly, in QA, everything is simple. There is not a, like, like you have to build a spaceship. Yeah. So you have to have a specific super technical knowledge to do it, like when you're building a spaceship. So QA, that's mostly what you have to know really to be a good QA. What you nice personality, you have to be person that everyone would like to work with. So that's number one. Then you have to know how to read to make sure you're understanding your requirements, how to write, to create a test cases based on requirements. You're supposed to have a creative way of thinking to make sure that you will be able to code the most impossible issues in the world. And that's pretty much that's it. And you have that's like I would say that's for sure. And if you have all these four skills I told you right now, you will be really good. That's it. And there is not like in automation, of course. I will tell you honestly, not everyone will be able to learn automation. Not because you're stupid. You have a different way of thinking. So, like, that's like it was high mass. I would say I remember my university, and it was like my first background is financial, and it was a lot of math during my learning, and some lessons I remember just I have to learn it, memorize, but I never had an idea how it works. Sometimes it's, yeah, and it's really, and right now I'm really upset about it because probably when I was younger in the university, I had to pay more attention to this all super math logical stuff. So maybe Java right now could be easier for me than it is. So for me, it's hard as well. So for example, Python, it's much easier, but Java, it's like eating my brain. Just believe me, because for me, it's hard. So I don't know, guys. And I know some people who is just doing like this. So it's not because of you're stupid, just you have a different way of thinking, and sometimes it just it's really hard for you. So if you don't want to be an automation engineer, that's absolutely fine. There is a lot of manual advanced QA work using different multiple tools, which is close to automation, where you can succeed and make a lot of money. So do not overestimate yourself. If you not would like to do an automation, that's absolutely fine. Should we get coupons for the mentorship now, and when is deadline for the booking time? There is no deadline. Whenever you're ready. There is no deadline. There is a lot of mentors always available. So yeah, guys, about the mentorship session. Personal ask from me as a mentor. I have already two persons from your course who scheduled the mentorship session with me and never shows up, and actually never replied to my messages in email or in a Slack. So I'm kind of surprised. Please just make sure you're respecting my time. So, and I will do the same with you, because not really cool when it's like late for me and I'm sitting and waiting for you. You not shows up, and you never ever reply to me. Yeah. Yes, they probably found the job. I don't think so. Okay, so yeah, just just a quick side note for myself. Um, my favorite bug. Mm. uh, you know, my favorite bug. Favorite. Guys, I don't know. I don't know why, honestly, because I'm logging multiple issues each and every day. And there is a lot of issues that I found, and some just super specific to my test environment. So it's really will be hard to explain to you. But I don't know if I gave you this example during the mobile lesson classes. So super annoying issues that I found, that's coming from the Chase Android application. So um, when Android updated from 9 to 10, I wasn't able to open my application. It's not only me. There is 100,000 users with Android who updated Android 9 to 10. So 2 months, we were not able to sign into the application. Actual sign in was broken. They had some security issue with on the sign in step in actual application, in a native application. So I would say, and it took them like or 2 or 3 months to fix the sign in part. So, and when I read the reviews under the application, you just cannot imagine what users said. So to check my bank account, and I'm using it a lot. So I had to go to the actual web version, to the website on my mobile to do something, which is super uncomfortable because some features on the web mobile is disabled. It's available in application only or in the full desktop version. So why it's my favorite bug, because I don't understand how it's possible to not fix this issue in hours, not even in days, in hours. And it took them more than 2 months. So for me, it's like was, oh my God. So that's that's the most impressive issues that I will remember for whole of my life. I wouldn't say that I found something like super like my favorite bug during my current job, because first, that's pretty cool application. Second, everything what I'm finding, that's normal process, like normal development process. So, and that's just issues and it just fixes. So currently, I'm not really paying attention to what I found. Just issue. I'm just logging, and it just fix it, and I'm just retesting. Maybe when I just started, I remembered something like, my first issues. But right now, for me, it's such like, obvious things that I'm not even paying attention to this one. So for me, it's really hard to answer what is my favorite bug, recent one. They all good, really good and pretty cool. So, but yeah, that's kind of my answer. Will someone check the homework? Yes. If you have to do something in Jira, yes, they will check. You can always pin Alsu in the Slack. She will check it. Uh, for how long LMS and Slack will be still available for? That's the good question. So LMS will be available at least 1 year. Slack related. After maybe next week, we will give you a link to our main Test Pro channel, whereas all our students, whereas like thousands of the people. So, and you will still be able to ask questions, see major announcements from Test Pro, and we will also still support your Slack maybe for 1 month, I would say. So yeah, but once you moved to the main Test Pro, you can ask questions there, and you will see all announcements. So you will see how cool it is. So yeah, if we want to reuse a lesson again and practice everything again, we will be able to get teacher's assistant in the Slack. Uh, mm, as I mentioned before, for around 1 month. If you would like to repeat the course or to be team lead, you can contact Anastasia, so she will help you with this one. How does the hours work with the QA jobs? Are you expected to work a certain number of hours a day? Of course, that's the normal work day, 8 hours. But I would, guys, I wouldn't take myself as ideal example of QA job hours. So my hours different other than any companies because I have to be flexible because I support the application, which is worldwide application. We have 150 million users. You can imagine how big the number is all over the world. And my releases, my schedule, my work day is super flexible. The same with my hours. So, but usual day is yes, 8 hours. When I book mentorship with you, when I will get the message the day when you will have your session with me, you will see email. I believe in the morning with a Zoom link, and that's it. The day of the session, you will get a Zoom link. Yeah, if I will have to reschedule, I will let you know in advance for sure because I'm checking my schedule each and every day. But yeah, usually the same day, sometimes the day before. So, but yeah, if you have it, I will show up. Don't worry. I'm always shows up. What is the level of people who are looking job like we on the job market? Is it higher, lower, or are they pretty similar? Well, with the level, it's really hard to explain, guys. So I know that people with a real experience around like 5 years and their level of knowledge, it's just pissed me off because I don't understand how you really work in QA like for 5+ years. And I know that you really work it in the 5 and you know like less than my students. So it actually depends on you, not people you have to compete. So some people with a real experience, they will beat you for sure. Just believe me. Not because I want to disappoint you. If it's like you both nice personality, but because you don't have a real experience, you have bootcamp experience only in person, for example, work it like 5 years in a different company. So from this perspective, only because person has more experience, he might beat you. But if you're talking about the people from the different boot camps, and sometimes people with a real experience, like I give an example right now, you don't have to be worried. I know that my students just the best. Guys, the recent offer from the previous course before you, the person, he got more than 100K for the manual position, full manual job. Again, one more student, she got from the first interview, first interview, $50 per hour offer, which is, I could only dream about it when I started. So from this perspective, you don't have to worry. Of course, there is always someone who is better than you, but that's only supposed to give you what? Additional push, I would say, to do better next time. So when you have someone better than you to compete, that's only, I would say, that's the good point. So you have to be happy that you have someone who you have to beat first. What if I don't like my QA team? Let's say it doesn't work out good. How it's possible? Why you even programming yourself that you don't like someone? I don't know how it's possible. All people that I'm working right now, there is like thousands of people. I never saw a bad person. They all super nice, helpful. My team members, they like my family already. So no, you don't have to be worried about this one. Can I ask a question about QA for video streaming company? Yeah. when you have a big video release, like in a show on Friday, that's a software sprint release. No, that's out of usually in a company. If it's like event, that's not it's not only like on a Disney Plus. That's, I don't know if you know the ESPN Plus application. That's also ours application. So when it's like fight event, that's also release, yeah, but it's special event. So release, that's the release. Events, that's just events, I would say. What is my personal advice for automation course? Is it good time to join now? There is two options. So if you have a time to do both one at a time, be on a market, look for a job, and learn automation, my advice, yes, go and take it right now. If you see that you don't have a time to learn automation right now and you have to go to the market, and you have only time to focus on looking for a new job, find a job first, then take an automation course. So that's my advice. You have to monitor in events. So of course we have to monitor everything. Also, I will tell you, I'm monitoring everything always. But the good thing that I am QA, so I am responsible for quality assurance, which my work is preventative. But there is also different type of teams in the different companies. They exist. Uh, they are or QA, QE, quality experience, or we also call them monitors. So people who is monitoring events, production always. So you think the production, we just leave it and no one is watching it. There is people who check in production state of the application 24/7. So it's like huge rooms, like especially in my first job, we had a huge wall with all TVs. It's thanks God it was muted and it was news translated each and every window. So it was like I don't know how many TVs, like hundreds, and we have like TVs above our head, and thanks God at least it was muted. So it's monitoring 24/7. So what can I tell you guys? Media is super fun, but it's really hard. It's overtime. It's a lot of pressure. You have to be technical enough to do it. So you have to make sure you will be able to handle this situation. You will have a good mentor in the team who will be giving you this friend hand who will follow up you through this old stuff in the media. So I wouldn't say it's really easy. Uh, Thanks God it wasn't my first job. I'm not sure if I would able to handle it as a first job. So my first job was also media, but it was just news, not like, and it was not 150 million K of the people. So it's different numbers. So yeah, start learning programming language. Which one is better to start? You have to learn programming language only just like by language by itself. If you're going to be a developer, so that's the programming language. If you're going to learn an automation, so it's Java or Python, and they both popular, they both on the market. I would say probably Java is a little bit more popular, but it's harder, and it's up to you if you can learn. Again, for me it's hard. Python for me it's easier, but there is no option, I have to learn it. So yeah, but it's not supposed to be just a programming language. If you're going to be an automation tester, you're supposed to learn it together, how to code and how to write tests. Actual test writing, it's pretty simple. So especially when you're doing like an IntelliJ idea, it will give you some suggestions or so on. But yeah, like uh, OOP methods and everything else, you have to learn it from programming. And sometimes I'm honest with you guys, it's just eating my brain sometimes, and I just wanna take my laptop and do like this. After this bootcamp, what next should I do? If I don't have a work permit, apply the waiting. Yeah, if you don't have a work permit, you have to wait until you will receive it. If you want to stick to the manual tester, ask Anastasia and be a team lead on the next course. That's it. And you will be still reviewing the course, repeating, will stay with us in the active learning mode. So that's it. That's my advice. Okay, guys, more questions? No? Come on. Do you know if we have any teachers open for mentor related with gaming industry? We don't have anyone in the gaming. Everyone is something is finance. You know what? Maybe, no, 1 second. We have a Kirill. Slack him maybe later when you will be joining to main channel. Maybe he's a developer, maybe he has gaming experience, because like all our mentors or they my colleagues or they my students, like for example Anna, she is a great girl, she's a senior automation engineer right now, yeah, but no, she's not gaming industry for sure. I don't have gaming experience as well, so maybe only Kirill, but he is a developer. Maybe he knows how to at least develop it, but gaming industry is pretty hard. That's what can I tell you. And what can I tell you again? Gaming industry, it's not really well paid. If it's like online casino, maybe it's better. But if it's just the games, it's so, and I will explain to you why. Because there is a lot of gamers, like popular people, and companies giving them games, not live yet, like for the beta testing, and they test them for free because they like it. So maybe that's why. So I don't know if it's like gamers, testers, game testers, they are really well paid. So if you're really interested in this industry, you have to check the salaries first. It's hard to get there with manual QA qualification. No, it's actually not hard. It's just less salary, I would say. You can go and check the salaries in the game company and you will see the answer. So I don't know. Everything will be available at least for a year in LMS and Jira too. Of course, guys, you're pretty welcome. I love my students. I love to teach you guys. So, and I really expect from you to be a good testers. So I will have one more plus in my career to proud of you as my students. So of course, who I should contact to change my resume with our, what do you think you should contact to change my resume? Do you have an approval from your mentor if your resume is good? Did your mentor tell you, okay, your resume is good and you can go with it to the market? If yes, you can contact Anastasia and she will give you next steps. Your course coordinator, Anastasia. But only after your mentor told you you are good with your resume, because resume, it's really important. And believe me, I know the mentors and myself, you know it. I'm given a lot of always suggestions to your resume because I would like to see it ideal, not like a different resume on the market. So that's why, yeah, only once you have an approval from your mentor. Not just like you think it's okay and you can go, because maybe it's not okay. So you will give yourself bad advice in this case. Will our future employer make a real check on our certificate and job experience? Background check, of course, but they check in mostly criminal records and if you don't have any debts. So, and of course, your company where you're working right now as a tester will give you this confirmation of your reference, of course. You don't see any available times with me. Yes, I don't have it. My May is fully booked. Only in June I'm available. Unfortunately, guys, I don't have any time in May. Only in June. So if you would like to see me, you have to wait until June. But guys, all mentors, super cool people, really knowledgeable. So you don't want to stick exactly to me. Maybe someone is actually better than me already. So, and they all pretty cool. So you can choose any person you want. So they all good and all can help you. You book it last available session is amazing. Yeah, I know, guys. Yeah, for me, I'm really pleasant and appreciate your attention to my personality, of course. But yeah, other mentors are pretty cool. So any person in our bootcamp is really good. Just trust me. I know them all personally. So we don't have bad mentors. They all good with different experience, and maybe someone is actually knows, like, I don't know, better some related question to your future interview. So yeah, that's why you have to see description, who is a mentor, his or her specialty, and so on. Okay, guys, so today we are done for today, and good luck from all of my heart. And please finish all your stuff and go to the market and find your dream job. That's everything what you're supposed to do and nothing else. And yeah, thanks to you again for attending the classes, attending our boot camp. So yeah, guys, go and good luck. Okay. Yeah. So questions in the Slack, still really appreciated. So good luck, guys.